we was making some chi power over here. Shalom to everybody. I hope you guys are wonderfully blessed and experiencing uh, climbing higher through the cake of ascension. Uh, Absolutely been an amazing journey. How many pieces he was showing for such a long time. He's been he's been calling humanity for a long time. We're just not always the fastest to get the message. Anybody besides me recognize that? It seems like sometimes simple things can be made to be really difficult. So uh, I hope you guys are wonderfully blessed. I hope you are experiencing, no matter what's going on in your life, it doesn't mean that we can't be blessed. Doesn't always mean that everything's wonderful, but everything is still wonderful. So we've been looking at the Kybalion, and I hope that you will hang with that for a bit. There's really a lot of wisdom that is making sense. There's so much that has come out in the last, I think most specifically in the last 20 years. It's been coming out gradually for quite, I guess maybe since the beginning, but it seems as if there are some like really massive changes going on in the cosmos, and before we begin to even look at this stuff, many people were recognizing there's something going on, something's changing. I shared with y'all that 2 years ago that I felt like that the Spirit said to me that there are many spirits functioning on this earth, and man, that was no understatement. There are many spirits. The problem is because we were hung in the whirlpool of Christianity, and they could effectively block the light because they told you that you were going to go to hell if you looked at any of these things, and so it kept us all ignorant, which worked for their purposes because then you stay in fear and you never do, and that's unfortunately there are some forces on this earth, friends, that don't have our best interest at heart. They have their best interest, and when you begin to see that we are energy generators, whether positive energy or negative energy, you are an energy generator. The only real question that we have in our free will journey is which one of those we choose to be. If we choose to be mirrors of positive energy, then positive energy is what we will get back, coming back at us. As I shared the other night, the principle that Job used, although I never heard anybody really ever tell anybody that in Christianity, the principle that Job used, that everything that he fears came to him. I know that many people might think that's really a biblical thing, but friends, that's ancient knowledge that existed a long time before there was a Bible. It's very much true. It's very much what people call today the New Age modernism. I've been pondering, and I'm going to sit down at some point and I'm going to make a list of these things that I share one by one with you guys. But my mind was just pondering all the things that I've learned in the Bible over the course of 30 years. And as I said, I've never really just sat down and made a list. I've probably spoken about a lot of them to you guys and never even recognized really at that level. But all of the different principles that are, quote, that we as Christians made fun of people, whether it be monk people, Hinduism, Buddhism, that kind of stuff. That was really good fun. And yet now you look back and you go, wow, we should have been ashamed of ourselves. And of course we weren't, but just the New Age principles that are present in the Bible. And I began to look a little bit at the whole mysticism of Shalimah, the whole mysticism of Solomon, who was the wisest man that ever existed, but we only can define that statement as from Christianity's viewpoint. The truth of the matter is what Solomon was what Solomon always was. He always was a mystic. And so when they hide those things from you, then it makes it really difficult. Why did the high priest system use crystals to conjure power? You know, New Age people are made fun of because of crystals and using stones that are in the earth, and yet they have everything to do with how this earth functions. So anyways, a lot of you may not quite understand that, and it might even scare you, and it's okay if it does. But on the other side of that, those things, if we will use the ancient wisdom that exists, then we can also help ourselves. And I have a lot more interest in trying to help myself and other people than I do anything. So the Kybalion, we're in chapter 4, and the principle of polarity is what we're going to look at today. You say, well, how does this affect? Does it matter? Is it going to come into my life? And unfortunately and fortunately both, all of this is functioning all the time with us, no matter what. Whether we choose to believe it doesn't make it stop. It just means that we either have the ability to see and grow and move by it, or we end up staying in the same place under the same prejudices. And so wisdom is something that must be sought out. That's why Yeshua, the mystic, Master Isa, tells us over and over again that we must seek, and only in our seeking will we find. There's a lot more of a journey in that seeking than maybe most of us realize, and sometimes I think we fall short because of faith, because we're not really positive, convinced that we're going to find what it is that we're looking for. And I've watched many people, thousands of times over the last 30 years, fall short because they quit believing. And so it's not an archaic statement that I made. It's actually a very factual statement with very verifiable proof, and it is played out in people's lives. So let's don't be that. Let's learn the things that we need to strengthen us, and let's continue to push in and grow. And as we saw in the prayer that I recited, I now call it an incantation. I don't know that it was ever really a prayer, to be quite honest with you. It was a blessing. It was a statement. You can have negative statements that are incantations, and they call that witchcraft, but when you speak positive incantations, all of a sudden it's some great blessing. It's kind of like Mauro Biglino said, why is it that the Bible is supernatural if you're religious, and anything that's not the Bible is now mysticism, or is not spiritual, or is not scriptural, or we really sometimes do make some ludicrous thought processes. So as we grow and learn, we will begin to learn many things, and all of those things, the whole purpose of all of these things are to bring us up. The Father wants us to come up. He doesn't want us to stay. We find that over and over again. Come up hither, come up hither, come up hither, come up hither. What he's actually, the whole concept of that in the Bible is all about, what he's telling humanity is that I desire for you to ascend. And ascension isn't some supernatural place that you go to where you become a guru. We should be ascending every day. We should be living at a higher level every day. And so there's lots of deception, maybe intentional, maybe some of it not so intentional as to that. You know, you can sum it up in a very simple statement. Am I a better person today than I was yesterday? Have I exhibited more love today than I did yesterday? And I promise you, if you'll walk on that path, you'll have failures, but if you'll walk on that path, you will become a better person every single day. Uh, there's a lot of stuff going on, and some of it's already starting to be proven with this fake pseudo spirituality crap, if you'll pardon my language, that they're cramming down people's throats, that you can stay like you are and somehow you're some ascended spiritual person. It's a lie. I assure you, you won't have to so much tell people that you're changing. They'll see the changes. And I hear constantly people who are living horrible lives who deem themselves as somehow being some person that's ascending. And it doesn't take long to embody that. It doesn't take long to qualify that, well, actually you're deceived more than anything. And your ascension is deception. It's not true ascension. True ascension affects us, friends. It affects who you are as a person. If you're continuing to do all the bad traits that you always did before while you try to convince yourself how much you're growing, you're just deceived. And that's not really the purpose. That's not what we're supposed to be. And it can be different if we will choose to allow it. But we have to allow it. We have to allow change to come into our life. And that's a hard journey. It's always difficult to change. So one of the principles that we're going to, or the principle really that we're going to look at today is the principle of polarity. And if you understand, this is so cool because it's so simple. It functions every day in every one of our lives. If you know electricity, you know that you can have one polarity, but you can also reverse the polarity, and you get a totally different reaction from a reverse polarity situation than you do from a forward polarity. And so it's understandable in that concept, but it actually, in the piece I'm interested in, is us reversing the polarity in our life, which goes back to the people who are just simply deceived. Their polarity, they're putting out the same energy they always were. Okay? And understanding that, you know, people could be critical and could throw that at anybody. I'm not talking about me throwing that. I'm going to discern for myself through my intuition and my higher self where and who and what somebody is. In other words, the BS meter always has to be functioning. But on the other side, is there the ability for us to change polarity? So let's look at polarity first and then maybe look at it in that concept for a few minutes, and hopefully you'll find an amazing tool and an amazing friend here to help you as a judge for yourself. Not so much about other people, but we do need to discern other people as well. So it doesn't do you any good to throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's frozen? Nothing? Okay. I had a lot of glitches this morning, about 7 or 8 times on the meditation I was doing. So something going on. Something going on. Okay, we'll just stop and start over, Mama. With that, okay. Well, just part of it. But yeah, as soon as when you said that, I remembered this morning. I don't know what it was, man. It was